What's up, everybody, man? Back. Welcome to a brand new video, and today we're going to be doing another Godzilla Minus 2 or Shinsaku Gojira news and updates. If you're like, what the heck is Shinsaku Gojira? Why don't you go watch my last Godzilla Minus 1 news and updates, and then you'll find out. I think it's a pretty dope title. I'll call it that for now. Today we're going to be talking about the Godzilla Minus 1 Mission Impossible crossover we couldn't have expected, and where that might lead, as well as the next Godzilla project from Takashi Yamazaki, including how he promises to deliver the most terrifying Godzilla ever. Let's get into it. Starting out with some art like always, this first piece comes to us from Masahi, and this is their Godzilla Minus 1 poster. It's just amazing. Like, the whole thing. It's just so incredible. Shikishima down there looks fantastic. The use of color is amazing. The setting's great with the Ginza Waco there. Godzilla towering over looks incredible. I love the way the blue is glowing off of Godzilla's spines. He looks so terrifying here. I love this one so much. I'm a huge fan. I would love to have that as an art piece on my wall. That's amazing. Next up, this comes to us from Nakanishi Erika-san, who is a viewer of this channel, who is incredibly kind. I'm so grateful to have met this person. They're so nice. They go by the name Wannabe Historian 371, and they've left so many insightful comments on the channel over the last while, and I really appreciate them sending me these to show them off because I love their profile picture so much. I really wanted to know what it was, and it is this little Shikishima plushie. I love this little Shikishima family plushie set so much. These are all custom made. You've got Noriko, Akiko, and Shikishima. They are so great. These were made by Voodoo Kawaii. I've got Voodoo Kawaii's Twitter linked down below. Please go check them out. Show them some love. If I can ever save up for it, I'm gonna get my own set of these. These are great. Shikishima, Noriko, and Akiko, I think they're fantastic. I would love to get a Nora as well. That's just so cool. And Nakanishi-san actually does something incredibly fun with these, which is take them around to different events, to different Godzilla locations, including recently taking them to Godzilla the Ride. I love this picture. Is this on a train? Why is the train so beautiful with the flowers and stuff? But if you look in the background, you can actually see the Godzilla the Ride poster, which is pretty fun. And it's also just nice to see the little family sitting on a train together. I love those plushies so much. I'm so grateful to Nakanishi-san for reaching out. So I want to show these off. I've actually been talking to Wannabe Historian a lot, and they've blown my mind with some stuff that I just don't know how we didn't know this in the United States. Like, did you know the big scene of Shikishima screaming in the black rain in Ginza was filmed on Ryonosuke Kamiki's birthday? That is his birthday. Right after they call cut, they give him a big birthday cake. I didn't know that, but that's amazing. That's a crazy way to celebrate your birthday. All right, let's get into the merch. Starting out, we've got these big acrylic posters. They are 7.5 inches, and they were released in Japan. That's actually a lot bigger than I thought they were going to be based on these photos, but you can get different Godzilla posters, and they're just like acrylic stands that stand up, little pop-up posters for you on your desk or wherever, and that's pretty sweet. Also looks like you can get little slate versions with the film title on it as well. This is very odd, but they released a Godzilla Minus 1 themed bike chain over there in Japan, so you can get yourself a Godzilla bike chain. I love the Godzilla design on it, very cool, especially like that Godzilla silhouette. That's sick. Some very cute Godzilla Battle Line socks went on sale, and of course they feature Godzilla Minus 1, as well as King Ghidorah, Godzilla, and Destroya, all looking great. A Godzilla Store Pop Up event took over Irion Hiroshima, and it has taken it over through May. This Godzilla store comes with a giant poster, comes with a whole bunch of merchandise, a whole bunch of plushies, and more. You guys always know I like to point out the plushies because I think they're awesome, and in particular on this one, I really like their little Godzilla plushie, and I really like their burning Godzilla plushie. Some permanent Godzilla corners opened up in Don Quijote stores. These look pretty sick. I really like those LED lighting they got for them. That's pretty great. And Toho warned that more pop-up Godzilla stores are coming, so we have not seen the last of these. They will continue to circulate and spread through Japan, which is awesome. I love that. I'm so glad they're doing that. Obviously, like we've talked about in our recent videos, they're making an enormous push to appeal to younger demographics right now, and this is a big part of that. Takashi Yamazaki, director of Godzilla Minus 1, met Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise, the living legend himself, who brought that very usual Tom Cruise passionate energy. I love watching the meeting video of the two of them. I got a link down below so you can go check it out, but it's just very fun. Tom Cruise obviously has so much passion and energy, which is really fun. It made the conversation between the two of them very entertaining. Tom Cruise and Takashi Yamazaki did meet up, as well as Yamazaki met up with Christopher McQuarrie, the director of the recent Mission Impossible movies. This all happened while promoting Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning in Japan, and it followed Yamazaki attending the Japanese premiere for the film the night before. I really loved Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. I've loved all the Mission Impossible movies, but I thought that one was really solid, and I particularly love its themes and messages about AI, and I wonder if that will inspire Yamazaki, as we'll talk about. He said he was very inspired by it, but I don't know. I don't really know where that could fit into a Godzilla -1 story, unless you include Mechagodzilla, which I just simply think is off the table for a -1 sequel. In this, Cruise explains to Yamazaki that he's a huge fan, and he thanks him for entertaining him for hours. Yamazaki expresses similar excitement over Cruise's work as well. They then celebrate their shared love of movies and cinema, and taking genres people are familiar with, but twisting them into something far more deeper and emotional and personal. I would completely agree that that is something that both Yamazaki and Tom Cruise excel at. This is the part where it gets interesting. We'll circle back to this towards the end, but Yamazaki explains that he is currently working on the next Godzilla film for Toho. Now, as far as I could hear from the translator herself, she refers to it as the next Godzilla film from Toho. Cruise gets super hyped by this. Then Yamazaki says he was hard at work on the movie trying to make the script new and original and as good as he could, given that they're both talking about trying to bring originality to really tired genres. You know, monster movies are a really tired genre beyond Godzilla. There's so many monster movies. How do you make yours unique? And Yamazaki says he's worked tirelessly on this next Godzilla film to do that. They then both discuss the challenges of filmmaking and how much passion and hard work goes into everything. They discuss how much characters matter and how the characters are what elevate the action and not the other way around. Every action sequence has to profoundly affect the characters and the story and create an emotional reaction in the audience in relation to the characters. This is the core of what makes a great action sequence, and I'm happy to hear both of them acknowledging this, especially because obviously it seems like the next Godzilla movie is going to have a lot more action than the last one. This is where it gets super interesting. Like I said, we're circling back to it. Tom Cruise then directly states that this film is a direct sequel to Godzilla -1, and Yamazaki agrees, nodding his head. Now, maybe there's a translation error. Maybe he didn't hear the word sequel or whatever. Maybe he didn't understand it, or maybe he did. I know I keep saying this, but until we get official confirmation from Takashi Yamazaki or Toho that this next movie is a direct sequel to Godzilla -1, I really advise treading just on the side of caution that it could be something else, like an anthology movie. But this is yet again another direct indicator that it is going to be a sequel to Godzilla -1. Then Yamazaki says after watching Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, he went home and started re-looking over his script to make sure it lived up to the excitement he felt while watching Mission Impossible. And I think this could just be him like, I wanted to go back and take a look at it to make sure my action sequences were as cool as yours, you know, kind of deal. I don't really think it has that much to do with the themes of the movie. Like I said, the themes of the new Mission Impossible are so central on AI, and it's just so different from anything we could tackle in a Godzilla movie set in presumably the 50s. So I don't know, I'm very curious to see if that had any overlap. I don't think it did, but it was interesting to know. Tom Cruise says this is exactly what he did after watching -1, returning to McQuarrie and revising The Final Reckoning to make sure that it was as character focused as possible. They then celebrate how human focused Godzilla -1 was, with Tom Cruise saying it reinvented the genre and was fantastic and perfect. I saw many fans getting a little upset because, like, reinvented the genre? What, has he never seen the Heisei Gamera trilogy? Probably not. You know, probably not. I would say Godzilla -1 didn't, in my opinion, reinvent the genre as much as it did redefine what the genre can be and how to do it right. You know, how to do that style of kaiju film right. It said, like, this is how you do the character-driven kaiju movie. And I would say Godzilla -1 definitely nailed that, and it is a game changer. So did it redefine the genre? I'm sure you could make your argument that there are plenty of Godzilla movies that have covered similar ground over the years. Now, have any of them done it as successfully and all at once like Godzilla -1? Also a discussion you can have. I would say no. I'd say -1 really did do all of that perfectly in one package, and that hasn't been done before. But I did see a lot of passion from kaiju fans being like, well, what about my movie? What about the Gamera movies or whatever? I guess I can appreciate that sentiment as well. Then Tom Cruise says that if there's anything they can do, him and Christopher McQuarrie, to help with the next Godzilla movie or just to help Yamazaki in general in the future, they must let him know so that they can be there to help. And then this is where Yamazaki gets super shy about all the praise. I thought it was very fun, very wholesome, but I really liked it. Does this mean Tom Cruise is going to appear in the next Godzilla movie? I highly doubt it, but it is just yet another olive branch being extended to Yamazaki from the US, as we've seen Yamazaki extend in the past, where he said he would like to bring in some Hollywood actors for the next Godzilla movie if he had the budget to do so. Again, little connections here, little olive branches being extended from one side to the next. Does it really mean anything? Is the next Godzilla film going to feature an international cast? I don't know. It's likely that it won't, but if it does, it is cool to go back and look at the stepping stones that were taken to get there. And now we must discuss Toho announced the next Godzilla the Ride. While it's not news on the -1 sequel directly, I do think that this is still a very important and relevant discussion, as this is also being done by Takashi Yamazaki, who did the previous Godzilla the Ride, and the previous Godzilla the Ride had a lot of overlap with Godzilla -1. So here we were announced a new Godzilla the Ride surpassing the original Godzilla the Ride is being diligently crafted by director Takashi Yamazaki. Today, exclusive in-movie cuts have been specifically revealed, so this is a screen cap from the project. The production team of Godzilla -1 has reunited to deliver a soul-stirring ride attraction experience set to open sequentially worldwide from the summer of 2025 onward, which I think means saying it's going to start in Japan, and then from summer where it opens in Japan, which we don't have a date yet, it's going to then bloom outward into worldwide over the next however long. And then they say stay tuned for more details, with the first reveal image of Godzilla chasing this yacht. Now, a few takeaways here. First of all, this looks to be modern day Japan. That yacht looks very modern, or speedboat, or whatever we're on. I think it's a speedboat or a yacht. It looks very modern. Godzilla looks moderately sized, once again around his -1 height, which was about 50.1 meters. And then you can see a city skyline in the background. This all looks very modern. It's also ditched the orange color grading of -1. Once again, I think that also modernizes it, as the orange color grading specifically lends to the time period of -1. Godzilla, while glimpsed only from the mouth here, does give the impression of Godzilla when he's chasing the Shin, and that scene in Godzilla -1 would make for a phenomenal ride. Now, I got to see Godzilla -1 in 4D, as I know many of you guys did. Watching the movie in 4D, that was one of the most exhilarating scenes in the movie, the way you're rocking back and forth with Godzilla chasing you with the wind blasting you. You'd occasionally get like tiny bits of mist blasted your way. It was incredibly exciting, so much fun to watch. That's my favorite sequence in the 4D version of the movie. And so getting a ride that captures that is wonderful. It's kind of like how I always felt Ghidorah's Arrival or Awakening and Godzilla King of the Monsters could make an amazing ride, and then they never did anything with that. This is what I want to hear. We're taking inspiration from one of the most exciting sequences in Godzilla -1 and turning it into a ride. That's awesome. And Godzilla here looks like the Godzilla from Godzilla -1, which I think is telling a little bit. So we got some articles that break down what this ride is. They announced that this is coming in the summer, this summer, although we do not know when. It is Takashi Yamazaki's new Godzilla project, Godzilla the Ride. Takashi Yamazaki is said to be writing, directing, and producing the VFX for this new Godzilla attraction coming in summer of 2025. This is Yamazaki's second Godzilla the Ride, following Godzilla the Ride, Giant Monsters Ultimate Battle, which is still showing in Japan's Seibun Amusement Park. I've discussed the original Godzilla the Ride on the channel many times, but I think it's amazing. It's so cool. It takes a lot of inspiration from King of the Monsters and goes a very different direction with it. It's set in the Showa period. It's got a very cool aesthetic. Godzilla looks fantastic. It handles action incredibly well, and it's all done in this glorious, long extended oneer. It's so cool. Yamazaki has a little quote here stating, "I'm thrilled to return to Godzilla's world from the passenger seat. What powerful foes will emerge? Where will this ride take us next? As a ride enthusiast myself, I can't wait for my first spin, and I'm working day and night with our team to make this the most terrifying ride in the world. The plan is to surpass the last ride's scope and scale, with multiple locations opening worldwide, with multiple monsters confirmed. The last one featured Godzilla, Rodan, and King Ghidorah. I would expect this one to feature similar monsters." Yamazaki, when he says he's excited to return to the passenger seat, is him saying, "I'm excited to get to ride the ride for the first time." More details for the ride were revealed, saying it was made to celebrate the 75th anniversary of the Seibun Amusement Park and the 100th year of the Showa era. A series of Showa era themed experiences will be released as as well, although this doesn't seem to be set in the Showa period like the original Godzilla the Ride was. Additional details announced that this is a 4D film experience and collab with Borgent. The Borgent iRide theaters open in the US currently, it seems, are in Legoland in Carlsbad, California, and in the Mall of America in Bloomington, Minnesota. Seems one more is coming to Chicago, or maybe is already open, and there are some in Canada, like in Niagara Park. So that could give us an indication on where this might land in the US, potentially in Minnesota, potentially in Chicago, potentially in California. I'd expect maybe they'd put one in New York as well if they could. Maybe Vegas as well, that'd be another spot I would expect this could pop up, but who knows, maybe they're just gonna stick with those 3 locations for now. Either way, amazing that we'll get the opportunity to ride this in the United States, as we didn't get a chance to ride the first Godzilla the Ride here. It sucks, because that one looks awesome. This is super cool to hear. Takashi Yamazaki promising the most terrifying Godzilla ever. Bring it on. I know he's saying it's going to be the most terrifying Godzilla ride, but with how much emphasis Yamazaki put on bringing out the despair upon despair and fear and tragedy and all those emotions of Godzilla -1 in the movie, and how successfully he pulled that off with that Ginza attack and so many other sequences, this gives me a lot of hope that he's going to be continuing to develop those skills. And Yamazaki has stated many times that he learned countless lessons while making Godzilla the Ride the first one, and what lessons is he going to learn here that he'll then be able to apply to the next Godzilla movie? If his whole emphasis is trying to create the most terrifying Godzilla experience possible with this ride, how could that translate into the next movie? I'm so certain that the next movie will put a strong emphasis on the fear of Godzilla's return. I don't think they're going to go the route of Godzilla suddenly becoming a superhero. I think they're going to double down on Godzilla being a vengeful destroyer and really nail home those terrifying feelings, and this is a great testing ground to prove a lot of those ideas. Also important to note, Godzilla's design here looks so similar to Godzilla from -1. Now on the one hand, that could just be them wanting to use the Godzilla -1 design because it's the new Godzilla design, it's the one that people love, and it's Yamazaki's Godzilla, so it could be them just wanting to use it, tying into -1, getting -1 fans into the ride. It could also be because this is going to be an ever so slightly modified version of Godzilla -1's design, something a little more like what we'll get in the next movie. As if you look back, Godzilla the Ride's design is basically the prototype for Godzilla -1. They look incredibly similar, and so this could be a similar situation where we're seeing a subtle evolution of the Godzilla -1 design. This very well could be, and we only see his mouth here, so it's not to say that this is a one-to-one design. It's also maybe a way that they want to save a new Godzilla design for the next movie, rather than reveal it in the ride, you know? You could save the next Godzilla design by putting the Godzilla -1 design in this ride, and the next Godzilla design will be something a little different. We'll talk about in the next video that Southeast Asia Godzilla design, but this very well could be that. I don't know exactly what that one's mouth looks like in full HD glory, but it could be very similar. I guess I'll give that another look in the next video. This very much feels like Godzilla -1's mouth to me though. We do have a bit of a quote here from Kazuki Kishida, who's one of the producers for -1, saying, "We are creating a new Godzilla the Ride. This time it can be experienced in various locations around the world. Please look forward to it." Following this, fans got to it and started to celebrate, including MKTY Now, who also points out that this Godzilla's mouth is very different from the Godzilla's mouth from Godzilla the Ride. It features the multiple layers of teeth, which were prominent on the Godzilla -1 design. And based on these images that they picked here, I think they picked great images to point out, it looks straight up like Godzilla -1's teeth. Like, this looks like the teeth of Godzilla -1. So it's very possible it's just straight up the same design. Either way, I cannot wait to see where we go with this. I'm very excited for it. Anything Yamazaki's doing with Godzilla, I'm here for. And I cannot wait to see what lessons he learns making this project and how he'll apply them to the next movie, which again, Tom Cruise seemed to have confirmed is a direct sequel. Alrighty, you guys, I want to give a huge thank you to my patrons over on Patreon. It is through the support of the patrons on Patreon that I'm able to continue to make videos like this for you. If you want to support the Patreon, you can use the link in the description below where you can get early access to content, access to the Discord community, and more. If that's not your thing, please consider joining as a channel member. I'd really appreciate it. And if you're not subscribed already, we are so close to 101,954 subs, 1954. We're so close. Subscribe today and join D-Force now. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I will see you all next time for the next one. D-Man out.